Good evening, newbies, and welcome to Nonprofits Empowering Worlds podcast. We are joined today by nonprofit leader Sandra Washington. She is the founder of C.H.L.M.S Medi-Helpz Foundation. She is not only a founder, but she is an author as well as a patient advocate and consultant. So we're going to find out more about her in this episode, this 9th episode of Nonprofits Empowering Worlds. I am your host, Bridget Scarborough. I am a nonprofit strategist, and Nonprofits Empowering Worlds is also part of a larger initiative called the Female Solution Global Broadcast Network. And we would like to give you a warm welcome from the Female Solution.
Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the Female Solution.
Leaders of Nonprofits Empowering Worlds, let's go. Leaders of Nonprofits Empowering Worlds, let's go.
But the vision that God gave me, I felt that it was time for me to step out and work on the vision that God gave me.
We need look no further. We have a unique voice. We have a unique talent pool.
Hello, Sandra.
Good evening, Bridget.
How are you doing? It's good to see you again.
Yeah, I am doing good, busy as ever, but I'm doing relatively well.
Okay, we're going to talk about some of those things that you're busy doing. So, Sandra, you have a nonprofit called C.H.L.M.S Medi-Helpz Foundation. I'm going to bring up your mission statement so you can tell us a little bit about C.H.L.M.S Medi-Helpz and what that mission is and how you go about achieving it. Give me
okay, that's great. So what we work on doing within our community is we work on ensuring that all patients, even though we hear the word DEI, even though we're not supposed to hear the word, but we hear that inclusion part. And that inclusion part means that all of us, regardless as to where we live, where we work, what we do, all of us, regardless of to our social economic factor, we should be receiving all the same optimal health care. And a lot of times we don't receive that optimal health care because our community has no idea what it takes to actually reach and receive optimal health care. So that's what we do, go about making sure that our community is understanding, excuse me, what the 5 social determinants of health are, why they're important, how they can become empowered and engaged in ensuring that those 5 social determinants of health factors are looked at for themselves and for their community. And once again, just basically breaking it down and making sure that our community is educated, because a lot of times we're not.
So what are some of the things that you do to achieve this mission? And I sense a little bit of an accent. Where are you from originally?
I'm originally from New Jersey, so I lived in New Jersey until I was in my 40s, and then I moved to Chicago. So I still do have, and it's funny because when I'm in New Jersey, they're like, "You're not from New Jersey," and when I'm in Chicago, they're like, "Okay, well, where are you really from?" Because we hear that in your voice. So I'm a New Jersey girl. I'm born and raised in New Jersey, and I moved to Chicago, like I said, when I was in my 40s. And I moved to Chicago because my son had to have open heart surgery, and his dad lived here. So it was decided that we would move here so that he could get the health care that he needed.
Okay. So you started the nonprofit C.H.L.M.S Medi-Helpz Foundation here in Chicago, but you actually, your service area is all over the nation, correct? Because you do so many things virtual. Yeah.
Correct. And
well, you have go ahead.
The reason why it's actually divided, where we're actually on a national basis, and we will pretty soon be going, we're in a little bit of the global space as well, because I've actually added a consultant to our team who actually lives in Pakistan. So, and I'm actually on on a group that actually is out of Africa. So I have a little bit of global touch. That global touch is scheduled to grow in the coming years. But I did it like that because C.H.L.M.S Medi-Helpz is about functioning. It's about focusing on our community. And when I say our community, a lot of times people just look at it and say, okay, well, you're talking about Black people. Yes, I'm talking about Black people, but I'm also a woman, and I'm also over the age of 50. So when it comes down to my community, all three of them are my community. So that's what I'm focused on. And we don't just live in Chicago. We live across the country, and every geographic area has a different focus. So we don't take over those areas, but we go in and we collaborate with those areas.
Okay. And when you say we, you mean your board, your consultants, your overall team?
Correct. Our overall team. We do a lot of work also with, and we've been blessed to work with a number of nonprofit organizations that have actually given us help and have allowed us to get the volunteer help that's needed to continue our mission. So even with them, we are actually able to, work across the board.
So was there a particular experience that you had that made you decide to go into this type of work?
Well, the experience, I mean, when you look at my experience as being a Black person, a Black woman at that, having sisters, I lost two of my sisters. One I lost to gaslighting. She was gaslit out of her life. And the other one I lost pretty much the same thing. It was a gaslighting situation, but it was one where, she was going to the doctor and she was going to the wrong doctor that she should not have been going to. But both of those cases were cases that involved gaslighting. And so that's, made my promise to them that I would continue to, up that fight and ensure that this didn't happen to very many other people, other women especially.
Can you explain a little bit more about gaslighting for our audience in case they don't necessarily understand what that means in terms of healthcare and in the context of the healthcare institutions?
Well, gaslighting has a lot to do with you showing up as a woman, you as a Black person, expecting to get, you know your body more than anyone else. You know your body. But yet when you go and you present with symptoms or signs, a lot of times, if you're not educated a lot, especially if you're not educated a lot of times, what happens is that you're forced into receiving care that you shouldn't be receiving because this is how the doctor feels. And a lot of times the doctor could be wrong, but they're not going to, say, hey, you know what, it's my bad. I'm gonna listen to you. And so they do things that they shouldn't be doing with our bodies, and we're gaslit out of our lives. Or we're gaslit. Recently, I was actually told about it. I was actually recently speaking to someone who she went to the doctor and said, something's wrong. And he was like, oh, ain't nothing wrong with you, and tried to play it off. But yet when she went to have tests, he called her and said, yeah, you know what? You're right. Something is wrong. So had she not been educated and continued to fight for what she knew was right, chances are she wouldn't be here.
Yeah, and we see that commonly among particularly Black women, and statistics support that, especially in Illinois. There is well-documented cases where women have gone into the doctor and expressed a certain level of pain, or they requested a particular type of care and they were denied and told that they were not able to receive it, or they what they stated was going on was not going on, and was proceeded to be tried to be convinced to get some type of other procedure that they didn't want. So yeah, this is something that's common, and I learned a lot of this from some of your shows that you've had on Facebook called The Patient Experience. So a lot of, so for our audience, Sandra has a show where she interviews healthcare professionals as well as patients, where they share their experiences in dealing with the healthcare profession. And it's been very educational, but also mind-blowing in some instances, where I have learned of some experiences that people have gone through with their healthcare providers. So I wasn't even aware of how much this type of service was needed until really I met you and started working with you.
Yeah,
do you still have that show on Facebook?
I do have a show, and what I'm not going to say interesting. Sadly, what's happening and what has happened over the years is that our community is the last to know of services such as patient advocates. They don't know about the advocacy field. I have no idea what it is. They know, but when I talk to them, they need it, but they have never heard of it before. Once again, that's an issue that has a lot to do with race and racism, where we're not told about these things until it's much too late. And then it's where can I go and where can I get the resource from? So I still do the patient experience, speaking with Sandra L. I took a break in I took a break in November and December, but my next scheduled podcast is scheduled for January 15th.
Okay, and people can catch that on Facebook.
I actually stream it. I actually have started streaming it pre-live and then putting it on Buzzsprout, so they can catch it on YouTube. They can catch it on Spotify. They can catch it on Apple. It goes out across the board as a podcast. So even though I'm pre-recording them, they are going out live.
Okay. Now, does it still stream on the patient voice Facebook group that you have? Does it still stream live on there?
It streams on the patient voice as well. Well, it actually streams on the patient voice, but I actually had to move away from using the patient voice so much. I'm going back in to start using it, but I had to move away from it so much. I had to move away from it because my time got literally what I wasn't. I'm not going to say what I wasn't expecting, but literally at the end of last year and into this year, what occurred was we got a massive amount of work that needed to be done and people that needed to be reached. And so our business line picked up our business line picked up. So there was some stuff that I had to decide, okay, well, what do I want to do and what do I need to do and how I'm going to do this? So we actually had to come to that. When I say we, I mean myself as well as my board members, as well as my husband, who's another big part of what we do, both on our for-profit side and our non-for-profit side. But we had to make some decisions. So the patient's voice got pushed back a little bit, but I am starting now to actually rebroadcast off of the patient's voice.
Okay. The reason why I asked is because on my YouTube channel, I did put the link to that Facebook group in case people wanted to check out the patient experience podcast. But what I will do is I will add those other links as well. If you send those,
yeah, I mean, you still
so to
yeah
to the to this description of this episode on YouTube, so people can
it's
just
helpful.
Go straight to it.
It's helpful for them to actually have access to the patient's voice, because what I'm starting to do now is, as I'm posting items out, that those items that I'm posting out and that information that I'm posting out is actually going on the patient's voice. So I'm actually starting to collaborate, not just so much with myself, but with financial advisors, with legal advisors, because it all ties into health. So the information that I'm getting from them is going there. So people that need additional information are looking to say, hey, what's going on in the world of health? They definitely need to actually be looking at the patient's voice. So if you have that link up there, that's great.
Okay. And also, this is Sandra's website, that there are some episodes that are all archived on your website as well, correct?
They are on our website. 99% of every show that we've done over the past 3 years is actually on our YouTube channel. So we do have a YouTube channel that houses all of our past shows, all of our videos from the time that we first started. Because when we first started, we were doing every Wednesday we had a video on. Every Wednesday we did a video. So all of that old archive stuff is sitting on our YouTube channel. And also what we are doing now is we're actually developing, because of the growth of the business and because we actually now have a product that is going to be attached to a program. And I'm hoping that those people who are listening, if you are listening to this show tonight and you are running a nonprofit or you're starting a nonprofit, I'm going to tell you what Bridget told me when I first started. And I was like, okay, well, when I first started, I was just really trying to get, okay, well, how am I going to do this? And what am I going to do? I started to get that niche on, what's going on. I was working full time when I first started my nonprofit, and I was working for a healthcare company. So a lot of things I couldn't do because it would appear to be a conflict of interest. And I'm so very happy that I had spent that time at that healthcare company, because it taught me and it showed me some things that I should know. But if you are a nonprofit and you're like, okay, well, I want to go after grants and I want to go after, money, right? And you need help to get your business started. I'm going to tell you what Bridget told me, which held true to today, which is why I'm on this show today, is this. You need to have a program. You can do all the events you want to do, but ain't nobody finna pay you for no events. You need to have a program. So take it from someone that's been doing this for quite some time. You need to have a program. If you want to get grants, you cannot go to your grant. You can, because we were able to, because we had some connections. We were actually able to get some grants, get some micro grants. But this is the thing. You need to have a program. So that means you need to be, okay, what's the person walking away from? What are they walking away with? They have to have something that they're walking away with. What can you show us? The other thing is, what are your numbers? Like, how many people are you actually, servicing in this area? And what are they saying? Like, what are you doing with them? those are important things for you as a newbie. I mean, we've aged out because we actually are 3 now, but you need to actually have a program. You're going to either give a certificate, you're going to get, something out of what they're getting, other than, okay, I started this nonprofit and I have absolutely nothing to go off of. I don't have no numbers to show you. I don't have anything to show you. I actually am just doing this, and I think you should give me some money. It's not going to work.
You know what, Sandra? I didn't expect for you to say that, but that was some awesome advice. So I hope that anyone that's listening that is thinking about starting a nonprofit, that they took those words to heart, because that is something that I tell my clients all the time, as Sandra just expressed, that you have to be organized, you have to have a program, and people need to understand what the goals are, what the expected outcomes are, and you need to be able to track your numbers. And I think you're there now, Sandra. You're definitely there.
You know what? It took some work, but I can honestly say that I am there now. We have a product that we will be rolling out in February. And it's actually a program. It's a certificate program. It's a lot of learning involved in it, but we were fortunate, Bridget, because we had our focus area, and we've never once, people tell me all the time, Sandra, you like hung in there, like you stayed with healthcare. You said, this is what I'm doing is healthcare, and you didn't divert. You didn't go in down the line somewhere. You didn't do any of that. You stayed focused on healthcare. So we trust you because you showed us that you're all about health. Anything health related, we know that if Sandra's saying it, we could pretty much guarantee that that's what's going on, because it's coming out of Sandra's mouth. And so we've seen her work, and we've seen what she's been doing. So, that trust comes with, and I stayed with that trust factor. But we were blessed in the fact that, once again, I worked full time. So I had money to actually put into the business to help the business grow, so that I didn't have to go do 50,000 fundraisers and doing a whole lot of stuff and saying, oh, I didn't get that grant, so I have to close my doors. It allowed me to have time to actually breathe, actually be patient, and actually push through and say, let me go down these lanes and see which one of these lanes I really want to be on, so that's how I can continue to grow my business. And that's what I've done.
So you have a Medi-Helpz LLC, as well as you have the nonprofit, correct?
Correct. That is correct. And what we're doing right now, so for those newbies, and I know you're like, well, what's this got to do with health? It's got a lot to do with health, because if you don't do this right, your mental health is going to suffer something terrible. You're going to be depressed, stressed out, all of these things. So it has a lot to do with your health. So we have a LLC and we have a nonprofit. We have 2 different tax ID numbers. So if this is something that you want to do, and you can do it, because as Bridget used to say all the time, McDonald's is a nonprofit. And most people, when I tell them that, they were like, really? Like, so it's like information like that you need to know as a newbie and as a nonprofit, that you can do both. But you need to make sure that you have 2 different tax ID numbers. There's 2 different routes you need to go down. It's 2 different tax ID numbers. What we didn't know, but what we found out later, was that when we wouldn't have been able to do it anyway, because the product that we haven't launched it yet. We'll be launching it in February. But we're at the point now where we actually are switching over and becoming a social enterprise.
Okay. I want to backtrack just a little bit. Mm-hmm. So C.H.L.M.S Medi-Helpz Foundation. C.H.L.M.S is actually an acronym.
Correct.
Can you tell us a little bit about what that acronym stands for?
Most certainly. The C is for Christopher. Christopher was my paternal grandmother. Actually, she was my maternal grandmother, Christopher. H is for Henrietta. Henrietta is my paternal grandmother. The L, both of them, Christopher Louise and Henrietta Louise, that's what the L stands for. The M was my mother-in-law, who we lost 2-3 years ago, but without her, I wouldn't have the educated and encouraging husband that I now have and have had for 30 years. And then the S is for Sandra. So that's what C.H.L.M.S stands for, and that's what C.H.L.M.S means. And it's a guide that I use to stand on, because all three of them had some type of marginalization category attached to their names, but I use them and I stand on them, and the work that I do means so much to me because I know whose shoulders I'm standing on, and so I stand proudly on them, and I lead with the dedication that they would lead with.
So starting a nonprofit is actually a way that you can leave a legacy from a family legacy. So there's been a few clients that I've had who has named either their nonprofit or a program within their nonprofit after an ancestor of theirs, their mother, their auntie, their grandmother, or several people, as you have done. So it really is a way to keep a person's legacy alive.
Well, this is a thing, right? At some point in time, you have to look at your life and say, when I pass from here, which we all know we have to do, at some point in time, we're going to leave this earthly world, right? What will people know about me? So if you're working for a corporation and you've been for that corporation 30, 40 years, what's going to go on your obituary is she was an employee of XYZ company for 30, 40 years. But if you step out and you stand out and you do the work as an entrepreneur or business owner, however you want to put it, and you actually have your name and your footprint put on this earth, when you pass from this world, versus someone saying, hey, this was an employee of, they can say, this woman did some great work. Here is all the things they can do. Here are all the things that they did do while they were here on earth. One of my favorite quotes is, service is the rent we pay. And so that guides me, but it should also guide everyone else who actually is considering doing nonprofit work. Is a business first and foremost, but what is your legacy? Like, when you pass from this world, do you have a legacy, or is your legacy going to be hidden within a corporation that you worked for? Which one is it going to be? And I decided that I wanted to have a legacy that I could leave behind. So when people said my name, they also said it with grace and with mercy, and said what the work was that I did while I was here.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself. Sandra, we're going to take a brief commercial break. And then when we come back, I want to talk a little bit about who you are as a person. Why? Because we know that you've had some personal experiences that led you to want to do this work, but you're also qualified to do this work. It's partly passion, but it's partly the fact that you have a background that allows you to be qualified to actually do this type of work. So we're going to talk about that when we come back, and we will take a brief commercial break.
Soulful Chicago Black History Book Fair.
Hey family, this is Charles Humphrey of MCH Publishing, and I'm here with Ashada, and we at the Soulful Chicago Book what?
This is the Soulful Chicago Black History Book Fair, slamming.
We getting down in Hyde Park. Just run it down, my sister. Just tell us, for the people, a little bit about what we're doing here today and why.
You know, this is the Soulful Chicago Black History Book Fair, and this month is very important. I feel like we don't give it the type of recognition that it needs, but beyond that, I do all things literary, and we have so many ancestors that have taken a tradition of writing and done great things. Well, we have those of us that are carrying on that tradition, and nobody knows about them until now. So the Soulful Chicago Black History Book Fair is allowing us to tell our stories according to ourselves for our own benefit. And it's just beautiful. I mean, she could have been here today if you wasn't here, but if you were, it's been amazing. People came in consistently, children, and we have children's authors, we have nonfiction authors, we have fiction authors. This is really good. And it's about taking our own power in our own hands and doing what we do on the literary tip, though.
Right.
I got to work, but I can't help it. Everything going to school. Not just about bring my African shit like this. Bring it back.
It does not cost to live. The earth gives us everything we need for absolutely free. So why are we paying? Because we haven't learned to simply share. With service, you can get everything you need without spending any money, and you'll live life abundantly. Service, sharing Earth's resources, voluntarily implementing creative exchange. Start living the good life now. Go to www.theserviceonline.org.
So one of the commercials you just saw was Asada Kirkland. She is the founder of the Soulful Chicago Book Fair, which happens here in Chicago every single year in the summertime. However, this year, and she's done this before, she's going to have a special Soulful Chicago Book Fair during Black History Month. So please save that date, February 15th. I will be bringing you more information in terms of the actual location and time. However, for right now, I just want everybody in the Chicagoland area to put that on your calendar. Plan to bring your children, your nieces, your nephews to the Soulful Chicago Black History Book Fair, February 15th. And it will be in Bronzeville this year, the Bronzeville community. And you may even see Sandra there. We'll talk about that later. Okay, so Sandra, before we went to commercial break, I was explaining to our audience that you have a background in advocacy, in health advocacy. Can you tell us a little bit about your background in health advocacy? What makes you qualified to do?
Yeah. I've worked in healthcare for 35 years. I've done everything from being a clerk to being a contract administrator. The last 11 years that I spent in corporate America, I was actually a care coordinator, which means that, and this is another part of the reason why I started the nonprofit side of what I'm doing, is I served time as a care coordinator. So I was out at the door, knocking on doors, getting people to enroll in what they call Obamacare, which is technically not the correct name for it. It's the Affordable Care Act. So I was getting an opportunity to learn and to see, hey, it's not just us that's getting these benefits, it's other people as well. But it was us that just really didn't understand, okay, how we could do what we could do and how we could actually take advantage of the healthcare services that were available to us. So yeah, I'm fully vested in the healthcare industry. I've spent a number of years being a board certified patient advocate. And I was like, you know what? I don't need the board certification title. I need to be an independent professional patient advocate. So that's when I became an independent professional patient advocate.
Okay. And you also went to school for this as well, correct?
I did. I graduated.
Am I correct in that?
I did. I graduated with my undergrad in liberal arts from DePaul, and then I went to Northwestern University, and I graduated with my master's in public policy administration from Northwestern University.
Okay, public policy. I knew there was something related to, you know,
Yeah, even though it was right,
policy,
healthcare. Right, and it was health
healthcare
policy. I
policy.
mean, mostly all of my classes that I took had something to do with healthcare.
Right. Okay. And you also are an author.
I am.
Well, actually, before we get into that, you mentioned something earlier about the social determinants of health, and that's actually within your mission statement.
Yes.
So I wanted to, just in case our audience is unfamiliar with the social determinants of health, why don't we talk a little bit about that, if you can explain?
So our economic stability is 100% based on what are our economic, what does our economy in our community, what does it look like, where we strong at, where we weak at, where are those gaps, and how can we fit those gaps. The educational access, once again, is tied actually directly into a product that we'll talk about a little bit later, which will be launching in February 2026. Our healthcare quality is actually not just going to the doctor, but if you're going to the doctor and you're going to the doctor and they're not giving you the best healthcare that they should be giving you, what's going to make you actually what's going to make you do anything? What's going to make you be compliant? What's going to make you take that medicine home and take it? Like, what's going to be that aha moment where you're going to be like, okay, well, this doctor really does know what he or she is talking about if the quality of healthcare you're getting is not the best that you can. And the educational access has to do also with the health access. Once again, you got Dr. Jones and Dr. Smith. The difference between a professional independent advocate and an advocate that works for a hospital is that independent advocate, we can tell you everything from A to Z in reference to who is the best for you. The hospital-based, and those are our partners. The hospital-based advocates, however, they can only give you information for their hospital or whoever the vendors are that they use for their hospital. Is it the best? Sometimes, but you're taking a chance, because they can't give you everything. So that's why you need to actually understand that and make sure that you know who and what you should be listening to. Safe environments, and I'm not going to be long. Safe environments. How many of us live in areas where it's pollution, or it's a factory around us, or it's some kind of gas blowing off in the air? We see it all the time on TV. And it's your environment that you're in that actually impacts your lungs. It impacts the way you live. It impacts everything of your mind, your brain. All of this is partly due to the environment that a lot of us are growing into and living in and living among. So that environment is something that very often people skip over, but it's important to know what a safe environment is. And that's why you see so many people, especially in Chicago, where the factories are out protesting. We don't want this and we don't want that, because they realize that it's a public health issue. And then that community support. Of course, we need to have our community supporting us. So those are the social determinants of health factors that we deal with.
Okay. And so you have a lot of events like conferences, and we're going to talk about some things that you have coming up a little later, but you do conferences, and you also, like we explained, you have your show called The Patient Experience, where you interview healthcare professionals as well as patients that have had certain experiences. But the underlying guide as to your activities and what you talk about is the social determinants of health. We try to tie everything back to those elements.
Right.
It serves as a pillar for what you do.
Exactly. And we break it down to the community at a 6th grade level. So a lot of times, I just spoke to someone, a doctor today, that was asking me about the product that we're getting ready to develop. And he was like, well, the problem with these programs when they build them out is that they don't build them out to reach us. And I was like, exactly. That's why I took the onus to actually make sure that what we developed and what I designed was actually something that our community could benefit from. It's not by coincidence that programs are put together that they know we're not going to understand, that they're using high school, college, PhD, MD, they're using that language. There's a reason why it's done like that. Only I took the time to break it down so that even the most minute person will be able to understand what it is that's going on with their health.
Absolutely. What was your first book?
My first book was it was a healthcare journal. It's a planner. It's a journal. It's an infinity journal, meaning it has no date to it. So what happened with that personal health journal and planner was that I actually wrote that right after recovering from COVID, and it's because I kept waking up and I kept hearing all these stories about all of these people dying from COVID. And I was like, but they didn't die from COVID. They actually died from a family health something in their family health story that was never told to them, because at a point in time, we didn't write anything down. So I'm like, so I'm going to develop this journal so that we will have a place where we can write stuff down. So once again, it's an infinity journal, and it's a journal that should stay with all of your most important papers, because it has everything that you need to, or someone needs to know about you. It has everything in there.
And I've seen you sell this journal at the Soulful Chicago Book Fair that we were just talking about.
I did, and that's how you and I actually met through Asada Kirkland when she actually had when she had the metaverse, and we were out in the metaverse, and that was when the pandemic was happening, and nothing was, nobody was going out anywhere, and so that gave me some additional time to write it. And I do want to say something really quickly before before time goes and I'm not able to say it. I thank Asada very, very much. One, for having the vision and the courage to have the metaverse, but two, because she would constantly tell us, you have to do something in order to get out there. Like, you need to be able to build on this book is good, but let's go to great and let's do great. Like, think of how you can make yourself great. So as I continue to grow and I continue to go and I continue to do these great things, it's because in the back of my mind, I hear her saying, okay, well, this is good, but now let's do great. And so that encouragement came from her. And so for that, I'm forever thankful.
Absolutely. I mean, what you have done in the short period of time that I've known you, because I think this was the only book that you had when I first met you.
It was.
And now you're about to drop your fourth one.
Well, actually, it's 5. I've actually written 5 books in the course of 2 years, I believe. Yeah. So I actually have 5 books.
Okay. So don't you have one coming out?
No, I don't have one coming out yet. I am going to do another one, but I don't have one coming out yet. I did I dropped the 5th book, and then I was like, you know what? It's time for me to get this platform done. So I decided to actually work on the platform. Now, now that we have the platform done, I more than likely will put another book together, but it definitely won't be out this year, or more than likely will be out in 2027.
Okay, well, I didn't do my proper research because I only have 4. So whatever one I missed out, still allow you to talk about that. Let's go to this one. Your Voice, Your Tool.
So My Voice, My Tool that's my last book that I wrote. And this actually takes you through the process of me being an advocate, going through the 30 days that I went through being an advocate and being a patient myself, and how I had to continuously stress to them look, I know you're trying to help me, but there's some things that's going on that y'all are really not paying attention to that you really need to pay attention to. So it's actually a guide to let patients know, and not just when I say patients, I don't want people to think, hey, she's just talking about patients. I'm talking about patients, caregivers, the community, for things that you need to know. This is an excellent, excellent book because it takes you through, not only does it take you through my 30 days, but it helps you see how to unravel when you're in a hospital and going through settings. It helps you unravel how to do that to where you're getting the best healthcare outcomes and you're receiving the best healthcare outcomes. This is a must guide. At the end of the Your Voice, Your Tool book, I give an outline of things that you should, documents that you should have, everyone should have, and should have it in a place where should something happen to you, they can get it because they'll know where it is. So it's definitely a guide that is definitely a book that I highly recommend that if you don't have it, you go and purchase it. What I will say is this: we have asked people, you can get our books on Amazon, but Amazon takes a portion of the money from the books that you sell. We sell our books as our books are actually our fundraiser. So when we sell books, it goes back into the community. So our books are our fundraisers, and that's how we raise money. So we ask people, hey, if you want to buy a book, can you please go to our website and buy that book? Right now, the website for our nonprofit is www.Medi-Helpz.com. We will, within the next couple of months, be switching over because we have to actually separate the LLC and the nonprofit. Right now sit on the same website. We've got to actually separate that. So we're actually going to be changing our website, our nonprofit website.
Okay. So your next book that I'm going to show is blank, I guess. Let me see. We did that one. Here we go.
Now, our colorful careers in healthcare, that book actually, it's a children's book, but it's actually a family health book. And the reason why I say family health book is because it's actually designed to show our children, our youth, that they can be anything that they want to be. And there are a number of roles in healthcare that they can do and that they can be, and to look at it. But the driver behind this book was in October of 2023. We did a summit on the west side of Chicago. And I purposely, people didn't realize this. I actually had two of my presenters ask me when they figured out what I did I do this on purpose? And I said, yes. But what I did do was I actually asked our participants at the end, had beautiful gifts to give them, asked them questions that they had no idea. Like, okay, so if you have a lung problem, who do you go see? And I just had someone get up and talk about a pulmonologist, but they didn't get it. And I was like, okay, so I had these beautiful gifts. Y'all didn't want them? And it was like, Sandra, this is the first time we've ever heard of this. I said, so when you go to the doctor and you have asthma, what do? They just give us medicine and tell us to go away. That's not the right answer. So they were like, but don't worry, because now that we know that that's what we should be asking for, that's what we're going to do when we go back to the doctor's office. So I put that out there so that adults could know as well. And when they look and they see the children work on it, if they like, okay, I don't know what kind of doctor is that? They can go take the time to look at it and see who they should be seeing. Medical doctors are fine. MDs are fine. But if there's a specialist, an IST is your key word. If there's an IST in that field, then that's who you need to be going to see when you are actually having some type of medical condition.
Wow. That's great advice. That's something that I should probably remember. I just recently went to the doctor and I didn't really feel like I was serviced properly.
Probably because you didn't go to it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was actually the same, the case that we all, the same scenario that we always hear. I was telling the doctor what I thought was happening, or what not what I thought was happening, what was happening. And she basically told me what I was saying was happening is not really what was happening. So she didn't send me to a specialist. But I probably should have gone to one.
Yeah, well, this is a thing. Our community.
So this is a good reminder, even for me.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. Our community doesn't know. I mean, and we're not told that we should be asking for these things, and we're not told. But yet, when we go to the doctor and we're not following directions, they don't say the patient was not educated on this. They say the patient was a bad patient. And that note follows you no matter where you go. It follows you unless you make them go in there and put an agenda, an addendum in there. That note follows you wherever you go. So imagine trying to go see another doctor, and you get to that other doctor and you feel some kind of way about what that other doctor is doing and how that other doctor is treating you. A lot of times it's because of information that was ill-advised, that was put in your record that you did not know was following you, that follows you forever if you don't do something about it.
So if you want to go see a specialist and the doctor has not advised that, can you, are they obligated to honor your request?
Yeah, you as a patient, it's called patient-centered care.
And write your...
It's called patient-centered care. For everyone that's listening to you, to me, it's called patient-centered care. That means you and your doctor come up with an agreement or what you think is going to work best for you, and you request that they send you to a specialist. You need to know what specialist you need to go to. If you're having cardiac problems, you're not going to go to a pulmonologist. You're going to go to a cardiologist. So that's a learning process that you have to go through. But if you go to your doctor and say, hey, I'm having this issue and I really want to go see this doctor, then they have to honor your wishes as that doctor, as you asking them, as you being a patient. If they don't, that means that you are with the wrong doctor, and you need to seek another primary care doctor somewhere else, and you have that right to seek another primary care doctor. Why would you continue to go to a doctor that's not listening to what you want and you're the patient, or what you think you need and you're the patient? They need to be able to tell you, well, I don't really think you need this, and this is why, and break it down for you. If they're not doing that, you need to move on. Trust and believe. If they get so tired of you, they'll actually ask you to find another doctor. So before you even get to that route, when you feel as though you're not, your requests for services are not being addressed, you're not being addressed, you need to look somewhere else. And it's about, I've had to do it. I've had to give up a doctor that I really truly cared about because we had a good relationship, but that was because I started calling her office and she kept pushing me off the nurse kept blocking my calls, and I'm like, I'm not paying the nurse, I'm paying you. So you need to take my calls. And I had to actually let her go. I was like, okay, you need to play in the sandbox by yourself. This is your health. I only get one. I don't want nobody bringing me back. Please, if y'all hear I pass away, pray for me. Pray for my husband. Pray for my son, my family. But don't you dare say, okay, well, let's freeze her and bring her back again. No. I ain't coming back.
Well, time is running out, and I want to get this next. I want you to explain this last book that I have. I know that I must be missing one, but here is the last book that I do have.
Right. And so The Woman of the Waiting Room is an anthology, and I am actually one of the writers in the anthology. The title of my chapter is called The Secret. and it talks about my story as being a young girl who was molested by her step grandfather. And it talks about how, we as parents, we need to ask questions. As adults, we need to ask our kids questions. So please don't say that child is bad. Say, let me see if I can reach that child and talk to that child, because something is happening in that child's life to actually make them act that way. So that's actually the story that's in there, and it's called The Secret, because kids need to know that not all secrets are made to be kept. Some secrets need to be told. I didn't tell mine until much later in my life, and it impacted my life greatly. But that's what the story is in that book.
Wow, thank you for sharing that, Sandra. I didn't expect you to say that. So this is an anthology. I'm gonna have to pick this one up. I wasn't even aware of this particular book. And there is one that is missing that I didn't share.
It's a 100-word book that is a 100-word puzzle book that actually teaches you everything that you need. So if you're interested in healthcare and you're like, okay, well, I need to know some healthcare terms or whatever, the book teaches you those healthcare terms. And it was actually written as an educational guide for people, but there's 100 puzzles in that book. When you finish, you're going to be a well-rounded individual in healthcare.
I do remember that book now that you mention it. See, you do so much, Sandra, I can't keep up. I really can't. You're like super woman. I do remember that book. I need to write a similar book for nonprofits, terms that, that are related to nonprofits and the nonprofit industry, because I definitely think people get confused, and sometimes terms that are used in our common language, when you start writing grants or you start reading notices of funding opportunities and things like that, the words that they're using, even though they're using words that you might use in your common everyday language, it means something different to the funder, or it means something different in the world of nonprofit. So and acronyms, we love acronyms in the nonprofit industry as well. So people need to know what those acronyms mean. So it inspired me. I need to do something very similar to that. And so people can pick up those books on your website. I'm going to drop that website again so that everyone can see where they can get any of those books. So you have a few events coming up. I want to make sure that we talk a little bit about that. Black History Month is approaching, and you have a few things going on for Black History Month. Is that correct?
Well, in the past, this is our third year doing our Black History Month event, and our Black History Month event this year is being done with NECA Hall of Mother is Supreme. So on February 21st from 8 a.m. Central Time to 6 p.m. Central Time, we're doing an all-day virtual experience. We have 5 or 6 different panels. We have like 5 or I don't say, I think it's 5 or 6 different panels. We've broken them up into panels with excellent senior subject matter expert covering a ton of covering a ton of literature that we as a community need to know. This is our 100th year commemoration of Black History Week / month. So we are, and for the past 3 years, we've covered it under health. So we actually will be doing it again. And what we will be doing tomorrow, our speaker panels are closed. They filled up extremely quick. And we're thankful that we have the speakers that we do have that have come forth. without any hesitation and said, count me in, I'm here for this. They'll be actually speaking on their particular topics. We are looking for sponsors and we're looking for vendors. So if you're watching this and you want to become a sponsor or you want to become a vendor, you can contact necajhall@gmail.com. Or so that's what we are actually working on now. Our tickets for this event will be going live on Eventbrite tomorrow. So today is January 8th, tomorrow, January 9th, the tickets to attend the event will be going live on Eventbrite. You'll see the tickets, you'll see the speakers, you'll be able to see that this is, in fact, a world-class opportunity for us to come together so that our ancestors are up in heaven or, wherever they are. They're like, thank you so much for doing for us what we couldn't do because we had no access to a social media tool. So please be on the lookout for those tickets. Please purchase the tickets and join us on February 21st.
So on Eventbrite, they will look for the title, A Century of Black Health.
Correct.
Is that how they can find it on Eventbrite?
Correct.
And what I will also do is I will put it on this, on my YouTube channel, on the replay of this episode. I will have links there with the Eventbrite link to register for the event. You also saw the email if you want to become a sponsor. So that opportunity is also available. But I will have the Eventbrite link on the YouTube channel where the replay is being shown. So you can just go to 501c3 YouTube channel. 501c3 my.org, 501c3 my.org YouTube channel. And that's where you will see the replay of this. You can find the replay of this broadcast, and in the description, I will have those links. Okay. All right. Well, any final words, Sandra, because we do have to close. I have really enjoyed this conversation as usual. I am inspired by you. I am always educated by you. And I would just like to say to our listening audience, please watch the Patient Experience podcast, because those stories and the education that you get is just unmatched. I'm always blown away with what I hear on that show from patients and from healthcare professionals. And it speaks, it's things, it's information that you will not normally get in from your doctor or any other, I don't know any other source. I mean, I haven't come across any source that really compiles the type of information in one place that we need, particularly as Black people or other underserved communities. So sometimes you don't know what you're supposed to know, so you don't ask those questions. And this podcast, the Patient Experience, gives you those tools to understand what it is that you should be thinking about in terms of your health, what it is that you should be asking. It gives you a voice.
It does. I do want to say this before we end. One of the things that I want the newbies to walk away from is this: stop listening to naysayers. If you have an idea and you have a thought and you are, I count on my spirituality a lot to carry me through. Please move away from them naysayers that are telling you that you're crazy, you can't get it done, because you won't, because you're surrounding yourself with the wrong people. As I elevate and I continue to elevate, I continue to surround myself with those people who want what I want, which is to make sure that those everybody gets access to healthcare, to the optimal healthcare. So whatever your thought is, whatever you're working on, whatever it is, stop hanging around naysayers. Get yourself people who are positive thinking. And they don't just say, hey, we're positive. They show you in their actions that they're positive. If you continue to hang around with naysayers, you won't end up anywhere. You'll end up closing up shop. And they'll be clapping because they was actually able to get you to do what they couldn't do, right? So please be mindful of that. Surround yourself with positive people. When you feel as though they're negative, move on. Everybody can't go to the same place you're going. So I wish everyone, if you're a newbie and you're just starting, I wish you continued success on your journey. You listen to Bridget, some of the things that she says, she's not perfect. She is not perfect. But she gave us some good advice.
Nobody's perfect.
Don't count on grant writers. Hell, if they give you, excuse my language, but if they give you a grant, you ain't getting it the next day. You're going to wait to get it. So what is your mind telling you about how you can make money while you waiting for all this other stuff to fall into place? Right? That's something that she told us that stuck with us, which is why we will be launching our new product on February 21st. So thank you so much. And best of luck and best of love to everyone.
Thank you, Sandra.
You're welcome.
So as we close out, before I go to the closing remarks from the Female Solution, I just wanted to let you know that I also have a Facebook group called Leaders of the New. And of course, NEW stands for Nonprofits Empowering Worlds. So you can go to Facebook and just do a search for Leaders of the New and join the group. It's a small population right now, but I would love to see it grow. And the purpose of the group is for us to collaborate with one another. New leaders, as well as leaders that have been doing this work for a while, collaborating, sharing tips, sharing strategies, sharing events, giving updates on funding opportunities. The possibilities are endless, but it's a group of like-minded folks that are either in the nonprofit industry or they are just starting out. And lots of collaboration have come about from that group in the past. So let's keep it moving. Let's keep it growing. Thank you for joining me this evening. I am going to close with a promo of Cinnabella. Her show is tomorrow morning. Cinnabella is is a sister who is also known as the Bronzeville Diva. She is a performing artist, a singer, and a songwriter. And on her show, she invites guests who are also creatives that are doing impactful work in their communities through their arts and through their talent. So her show comes on at 7 a.m. You can find it on the Female Solution YouTube channel, as well as the Female Solution Facebook page.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, Dhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, Ngiyabonga. Senegal, Jareth. Kenya, Asante. Israel, Toda. Pakistan, Shukriya. Afghanistan, Tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, Shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.